Okay, hello. I'm going to do a cradle to grave Python project instead of C Sharp Microsoft Agent Framework. So a little bit of a divergence. It's just something that I'm kind of knee deep into right now. Do Python project, kick it off with UV, bring in the OpenAI library, do some very simple Python code to do a quick chat with the model that adheres to the OpenAI spec. I'm going to uh, talk to it over across lots of different platforms, whether that's Google or Amazon or Microsoft or Hugging Face. If I get time, I'll also show some locally deployed models. Let's start this thing. So first thing is I am using a UV. It's just kind of what the cool kids seem to be doing these days. So I'm just going to make sure that I have Python 3.14 installed. Because in the later step, I say I'm going to use Python 3.14. I got it in my virtual environment. It's there. Fantastic. Next up, I'm going to initialize a new project. And you'll see why in a second if you're not familiar with UV, why I like it so much. Or hopefully become really obvious. Because what it does, if you take a look at it, so I'm just going to open up in Visual Studio Code. It creates a bunch of stuff for you. So for example, it does a get ignore, some common get ignores that you wouldn't have to manually create. It does seem to miss the .env file. I guess because it all depends on uh, how you write your Python code. So I'm going to use .env files um, for my API key and whatnot. So now I'm going to instantiate a virtual environment. So again, don't have to use a virtual environment. Just I get an impression that that is kind of what you do. That's what I'm about to do here. So I'm going to say UV virtual environment. Use the 3 dot. Oops, I said 3.1. So see, yeah, 3.14. So it's going to create a virtual environment, and there it is there. And notice here, Visual Studio actually notices that I have a virtual environment, so I'll say yes to that. But the only thing about that is I actually don't know. Let's see here. If I create a new PowerShell, yeah, it doesn't know that I'm using it here in the terminal. So I want to get into activate the virtual environment in my terminal window here too. So I'm going to do that here. And the way that you do that is in that VNV folder is there's a script to activate. So I'm just going to run that. And so now you can tell, now I'm in this virtual environment. And why do I want to do that? Because I want to install, or at least this is how I've learned things anyways, is I'm going to install, oops, UX add. You can install both this .env library, this so I can read those .env files and load them up into the environment variables, and also the OpenAI. See, it's super quick because everything's super quick in UV world. And I just really like this because this is very similar to me to like a C Sharp project in which NuGet packages um, you're going to be using. So next up is I'm going to create a .env file, as I said before, and this is going to have all of my API keys. And I'm just going to cheat out here. I have a cheat sheet of all these different env files, different API keys and base URLs, and I'm going to use that in a second. And I'm going to start it off with Google in a moment. Um, and so, uh, so what do I mean by that? So I'm going to now introduce some code here, and to spare you typing everything and me typing it wrong, I'm just opening up here, and hopefully this is big enough for everybody to see. So this is just some pretty simple. Can I zoom in just a little bit? That's probably a little bit too big, and I'll get rid of my GitHub Copilot and make that a little bit smaller. Okay, so what's going on here? Well, I'm importing in the OS, and that's used to read environment variables. Great. OpenAI, that's the OpenAI API. I'm just spitting out. So once I read the .env file for which model and URL I'm going to use, I just spit it out. Then OpenAI, just by newing up this OpenAI class, it seems to understand these key OpenAI base URL and OpenAI API key. Like I don't, you don't, I found you don't have to pass it here. So built into this class is it's looking for those environment variables. You can actually pass it as well as parameters here, but I'm just kind of using it out of the box as it is to kind of simplify the code. And then I'm going to use the raw completions um, API here, where I'm going to provide it the system and then my user prompt. So I'm not like interacting with the user. This is just a standard system prompt. You're a jokester. Tell me a joke. Okay, so I'm just going to run this, and like I said, this is if I've saved this. The first one here, the first example here is using Google Gemini. So I'll just kind of show that. So Google Gemini, here's the you go to AI Studio, google.com, API keys. Um, Create a project, create an API key. Obviously, set it up for billing. You have to give them your credit card, but then you get like $500 worth of credits, something like that. Anyways, um, and now you can interact with Gemini, which like those models are pretty amazing. And in this case, I'm just using the Gemini 2.0 Flash model. I was doing that so that this was hoping to be quick, although that was a little bit slow. So the first joke of the day was, why was the JavaScript developer sad? Because he didn't know how to express himself. Ha, very good, grown. Okay, next up, let's go to Hugging Face. So Hugging Face is another one. I don't think this one, I don't remember putting in a credit card for this one, but I don't know, it's been a while. I've had Hugging Face for a while now, playing around with it. And so their API, their URL, again, it's just a base URL. You don't have to set up a project or anything like that. It's just, so it's very similar to, this is just the standard URL for Gemini. This is the standard URL for Hugging Face. Hugging Face has thousands and thousands of models. Uh, they're kind of categorized. So Quen, which is like Alibaba, in this case, I'm using this coder model. So if I save that and run this, it should be the exact same thing in the sense that same code, just different base URL. And boy, was that quick. Why don't programmers like to go camping? Because they prefer debugging indoors where there are fewer actual bugs. Haha. Okay, cool. Next one is Amazon. Didn't know Amazon. Of course, they have their own models, but I don't think I knew that really. But they have these Nova models out there. Again, one URL. You do have to sign up for an API key. I'll have this in, oh, there's the Hugging Face one. Here's the manage API keys in the Nova. That's the Amazon world. Save this, exact same code, run it again. And this is Amazon's Nova model. How funny is it? How fast is it? Why did the computer go to therapy? Because it had too many bytes of emotional issues and needed to clear its cache of problems. Haha. And there's some other thing there. Okay, cool. Okay, next up, I'm trying to get through this before my recording time is up in this Microsoft stream. GitHub Models. So those aren't familiar with GitHub Models, this has been around for a little bit now and pretty nifty. You would never, I think, deploy it in production, GitHub Models, but you go over GitHub here and they got a whole model area. They got lots and lots of models here too. Yeah, you can interact with it online. And then once you pick it, it actually even shows you some example code. In fact, I think a lot of these will show you example code. So I just ran that. And this one here, I was using Grok. So I'm using the Grok one. There was the URL that the GitHub models is ran under. And all right, here's a classic dad style IT joke for you. Why did the computer go to therapy? Because it had too many bytes of emotional baggage. Okay, feels kind of grokky, I would say so. Great. Next up, Microsoft Foundry. So Foundry is a little bit different, a little bit complicated for this video, but you set up a project, then you deploy a model, and you have to point to both. So unlike the other ones here, where this is just a common URL, with Foundry, you get a specific URL that hosts your models. So it's a little bit different approach, but again, similar sort of thing. Run this one. And I'm using the DeepSeek. Why was the computer cold? Because it left its windows open. Haha, very funny. All right, almost done list. Oh, local models. Looks like I will get time. So local models, I got Microsoft Foundry and Ollama. See if I can get through it really quickly. So Microsoft Foundry. So how does this one work? I don't think I have it running, unfortunately. So you would install, winget install Microsoft.Foundry local. So this is already installed for me. For you, it might take a little bit longer to install. Once you have it, you can see the different models available to you. Just to recognize that this is the case with all the different model deployments out there. You have to, there's certain models that won't work with anything beyond chat. So you do want ones that support tool calling. So in this case, I think in my example, I'm using the Phi 4 mini is what I downloaded locally. So I can run, I'm sorry, I think it's Foundry. Um, oh shoot, I forgot my. Bear with me 1 second here. Foundry. I just forgot the Microsoft Foundry run Phi. Yeah. Okay. So the way this works is, so I'm saying Foundry. The model that I want to run is this Phi 4 mini. Because it's cached, this should be pretty quick. It should just spin it up. Sometimes it's abnormally slow. So any of these local models, if you don't have a GPU, which I don't, this virtual machine is just a CPU. It does not have a GPU in it. So all this is going to be a little bit slow. But once it's running, as a matter of fact, I already had previously ran it. Um, it does. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to check Foundry service start. I just want to make sure the port. So if it wasn't already running, it would have ran when I ran that model. So it's running on under 62334. I just got to make sure this. Yeah, so it's a dynamic port 62334. So I just have to change this URL, and now I can ask it to tell me a joke. And the thing about local models, of course, you don't need an API key. So that's the nice thing. Whether it's the LM Studio, Ollama, Microsoft Foundry local, there might be others. I don't know. Um, so great. Why did the computer go to jail? Because it had too many viruses. Okay. So that, and add another sentence at the end. So that's kind of interesting. And then the last one I wanted to show was Ollama. I think there was some questions about LM Studio, which I didn't bother with LM Studio, but it'd be the exact same thing. It's just where is it hosting things at? So in this case, I installed Ollama, which Ollama is very similar, where you do a winget install Ollama. Um, and and again, it will download it already, or download it if it needs to be installed. It's already installed, so I don't have to do it. Then you kick it off. Now you can kick it off using command prompt. In my case, I kicked it off using the UI. In the settings, I made sure that the network's on. I have the airplane mode turned on as well, so it makes sure it downloads the models locally. And it's using this GPT-oss 20 billion parameter model. So you see here, and that's the port that it should be running on. I think it's a standard port that it runs on. And I'll run this, and this should come back too. And so again, what I'm trying to show here is it really doesn't matter. Um, when you're using like standard code called, so in this case, I'm using the raw OpenAI API, which is which absolutely works. Although I think most people would say don't do that. Use a framework that's going to help you with other things as well. So Microsoft Agent Framework is the one that I've been digging into. It's completely open source. It can work with any of these models. You don't have to do anything Microsoft based with Microsoft Agent Framework, and I think there's similar ones out there like the LangChain and Crew AI and whatnot too. It also can work with. They're all open source and they all can be used with different models from different providers. And their wrappers, they added extra functionality on top of this because there's a lot of managing of stuff that you have to do here. And and yeah, so that's my example. And by the time I finish talking, will Ollama respond back? It is easily the slowest one of the bunch, and it's probably because I should have picked a Quen model. That GPT open source, I think well, everything's relatively new. Apparently, that's really slow to run on my CPU. I apologize. So I don't know which. Oh, here we go. Why did I'm sure this joke will be all worth the wait. Why did the programmers go broke? Because he kept using C++ and never cache his savings. Okay, sure. Anyways, that's it. Any questions? Just let me know, and I'll put this all on the Viva Engage